Hello. So while we chat, I'm going to be taking off the lip sense just so you guys can see how this goes. But I wanted to chat with you guys about something, and I'm hoping that I can be totally open and honest with you guys here. You guys are my little community of like-minded women, and I'm going to try to keep this so it's not too triggering for maybe some people. Okay, so a little bit of my backstory. Okay, do you guys remember in high school when you would run the mile? Do you remember how that felt? It was awful, right? You had to run it in a certain amount of time. It was almost like you were in the military. You didn't sign up for this, right? Okay, so fast forward a few years, and I started going really hard and heavy in the gym. I started wanting to be better personally, me, not just physically, okay? Not just physically. This is also mentally. I've been through a lot of rough patches, okay? But the roughest patch that I had was back in like 2013, okay? And I'm not seeing comments, so maybe I should cue you guys up on my computer just in case. Give me just a second and I'll do that. I'm a little nervous to talk to you guys about this. I really am, just because, like, I don't let a lot of people in to this part of my life. I am obviously still working on things, right? So, where's my mouse? Let me see if I can get it queued up. Maybe I can see comments on the computer. Oh, we better mute myself, otherwise I will be hearing everything. Hi, Patty. Hi, Sonia. Okay, I'm seeing comments on the computer, so from now on, I'm going to have to queue it up. Okay, so yeah, we're taking the lip sense off while we're doing this. Some colors, I'm just going to throw this out there, some colors you might need to do a couple of times. You put it on in 3 layers, so it makes sense that you have to take it off in 3 layers. So just a small little plug right there. But, okay, back to it. Back in 2013, okay, very rough patch in my life. And like I said, I don't let a lot of people in on this, so bear with me. I'm going to try here. I was in a relationship. It was a very long-term relationship. We had actually gotten divorced in 2004, and we had ended up back together. Now, some of you know my story, some of you don't, but for those of you who don't, he was an alcoholic. He was a narcissist. He was a drug addict. And there's a few other things that have come to light in recent years that I wish that I had known then, but it's probably a good thing I didn't. So I'm just going to throw that out there because it's very, it rips me apart. Okay. So during this time, I started running and going to the gym and working on myself. Like, that was my best way, my happy spot, the thing that I could do for myself, if that makes any sense. Okay. So in 2015, I believe it was, yes, I ran my first half marathon. And I thought that was the coolest thing. So going from somebody in high school that can't even run a mile, doesn't even want to to somebody who just ran a half marathon. I thought that was really, really cool. But that was also a turning point in my life, because I was with someone at that point in time, and things were getting super, super rocky. And I remember running this half marathon, and I got to, because it's 13.1 miles, right? I got to the very last of it. So like the last 2 miles. And I started like thinking about that finish line. Like, I just need to get over that finish line. I wasn't dead last, but I definitely wasn't first either. So I'm going to do this one more time while we're talking. I made it to the finish line. I didn't crawl over it, but I also didn't run, because my way of doing it was I run a little bit, I walk a little bit. It's kind of a the tortoise and the hare. I'd be the tortoise for a minute, and then I'd be the hare for a minute. And my running style is I'm a sprinter. I like to sprint. The long distance thing, I've had to work my way into it. So I got to the finish line though, and a lot of the other people had already crossed the finish line, so there really weren't that many people there. And as you get to the finish line, you look around. Lord, I hope I don't make myself cry. But you look around to see if you have a support system. Right? You look around to see if anybody is there. And I didn't have anybody. So as I crossed the finish line, all these people are cheering and yay, you know. But I didn't know them. I had no idea who these people were. They were just strangers that were cheering me on because I crossed the finish line. And I cannot tell you how devastating that can be. So coming from somebody who has had quite a bit of trauma in their life, and everybody's had trauma. Nobody gets out of life without it. Okay? So hear me out. I'm not saying that my trauma is any worse than anybody else's. I'm not saying that I am abnormal in any way. Okay? But that day was a turning point for me because I didn't have anybody. There was nobody there cheering me on. And I realized I took myself to breakfast afterwards, okay? And I'm sitting there eating this big breakfast because after you've run 13.1 miles, you are hungry, you are thirsty, and you want a hot bath and a massage and all of this, right? And so I'm sitting at breakfast and I'm eating this breakfast and I'm by myself. And I discovered that I was all right. I was okay. Even though I hadn't had anybody there, which still, yes, makes me tear up, makes me a little sad for that person that I was. But I was okay. And I guess that's where I'm going with this is it's okay. It'll be okay. So I don't know who needed to hear this, but I felt like I needed to share this. And the reason I'm sharing is because I just signed up for 5K. And you guys, I haven't ran in 3 years. It's been 3 years, and I used to really enjoy it. I really did. So I am starting back on that journey again, and I am going to do this, whether it be by myself or not, it's fine. But as I said, I don't know who needed to hear this, but it's going to be okay. And one thing I can promise you is you really aren't alone, even when you think you are. So on that note, I'm going to let you go before I start ugly crying. I love you all. I appreciate you all so, so much. I'm so glad that you are here with me on this journey. And this next year is going to be a great year. I can promise you that. Okay? Thank you, Patty. All right. I love you all. I appreciate you all. And I will see you again tomorrow. Bye, guys.